In 1993, George H. Roeder wrote an essay called War is a Way of Seeing. In it, he describes the status quo for the war movie, especially the World War II picture. Roeder theorizes that the standard war movie tries to break things down into a distinct black and white binary. The truth of the war is left out for the sake of the narrative. The white becomes whiter, and the black becomes blacker. During the Second World War, this manifested itself in propaganda films that were trying to persuade the audiences to love the Allied cause and to hate the Axis. This became crystallized after the war when the extent of Nazi atrocities was revealed, and the black and white portrayal seemed all the more justified. Due to this near ubiquitous portrayal of the conflict, people now see the actual conflict in the same way, Allied white against Axis black. The essential issue in all of this is very simple. World War II wasn't actually like that. Events like Japanese internment camps, Soviet war crimes, and the all-too-human use of fear to make normal people mass murderers. The real conflict is one full of moral qualms and atrocities no matter what banner you fought for. However, this problematic binary of black and white still persists. The 1993 Steven Spielberg directed and Oscar-winning Schindler's List doesn't treat each side in its conflict as equal, nor should it. Only a filmmaker without morals or a knowledge of history would attempt that. But what Schindler's List does is avoid much of the whitewashing of war heroes that occurs in World War II pictures. A more Hollywood version of Schindler's List would have divided the film into stricter dichotomies of black and white, starting with Schindler himself. Schindler is a romantic character. He is a beacon of hope in the bureaucracy of despair that is the Nazi Reich, though the movie doesn't ever portray him as perfect. In a movie about the objectification of the Jewish people through both brutal dehumanization and commodification, Schindler seems to be at the forefront of that exact objectification. Not only is he an incurable womanizer, but at the beginning of the movie we see him exploiting the worsening of conditions of the Jewish people for his own gain.
Standard SS rate for Jewish skilled laborers is 7 marks a day, 5 for unskilled and women. This is what you pay the Reich Economic Office. The Jews themselves receive nothing. The Poles, you pay wages. Generally, they get a little more. Are you listening?
What was that about the SS? The rate? The what?
The Jewish worker's salary. You pay it directly to the SS, not to the worker. He gets nothing.
In fact, we see Schindler's National Socialist pin before we even see the face of Liam Neeson. The film never gives him a defined point of change, either. Schindler very slowly becomes allies with his workforce. There isn't an easy point for him to help the Jews. The whole time he must work within the suffocating restrictions of German bureaucracy. This leads him to be involved in many morally questionable events, and Spielberg never strays away from showing them. Schindler's List also adds more gray to its comparative black than most other war or Holocaust pictures, shown in a haunting scene where the terrifying Aman Gulf attempts to be merciful when told an ancient proverb by Schindler.
I pardon you.
Not unlike the serial killer in Fritz Lang's M, Goff is portrayed as a man who doesn't actively wish to do the things he does, but is tortured into doing them regardless.
Is this the face of a rat? Are these the eyes of a rat? Hath not a Jew eyes?
The point is simple. Despite all his moral deficiencies, Amon Goth is still a person. We may not like him, and we may in fact hate him, but that doesn't make him any less human. To me, the most important thing that Schindler's List does is, before all else, dissolving the binary of which most war movies depend upon. The Allied white and Axis black is what manifests itself in most standard war pictures. Schindler's List never bothers with sides. Schindler is both the kind of person who caused the Holocaust and the person who saved Jews from it. Some of the Jews work for the new regime, some hide from it, some even begin to accept the new hierarchy. Most importantly, they are portrayed as people, not monoliths.
Herr Kommandant!
Very good saluting.
I respectfully report I've been given orders to clear the bundles from the road, so there will be no obstructions to the thoroughfare.
Finish. And join the lines, little Polish clicking soldier.
This seems to be the most important thing that Roeder was speaking towards in War as a Way of Seeing. In boiling down conflicts to a monolithic black and white, you eliminate the truth in that conflict. World War II and the Holocaust were real events perpetrated by real people. The ashes of World War II still have yet to settle, even 70 years later. This conflict still impacts us, and the sooner we look at it as the work of flawed people rather than black and white monoliths, the sooner we can truly learn from it. Media portrayals of conflicts often color how people view the real conflict, and boiling it down in the way that Roeder describes only makes people seem distant from that conflict, like something that could never truly happen to them. Schindler's List should be upheld as a shining example of how to subvert this, to create a war picture that portrays people, not monoliths, context instead of a vacuum, and a truer portrayal of events that follows. Because the sooner we realize what World War II actually meant on a human and contextual level, the sooner we can truly learn about it.